If you're a condominium director in Florida, I want to take this opportunity to alert you to two recent legislative changes that will impact your budget adoption season in 2025. First, if you are 3 stories or higher and you've been required to obtain the Structural Integrity Reserve Study, you probably know this. But as you go into this budget season, know that your budget must match your most recently received Structural Integrity Reserve Study. What that means is that if you want to take advantage of the new funding options under the statute, you might have to update your study. In other words, because the statute now allows you to utilize loans, special assessments, or lines of credit as cash in the bank towards your reserve analysis, you can't just do this without also updating your SURS study. So if you want to take advantage of the new legislation, the new funding options, you first have to have a vote of the owners. The statute requires that a majority of all unit owners must approve the use of loans, special assessments, or lines of credit towards the Structural Integrity Reserve. But even after you've done that, you can't just adopt the budget based on what you want it to look like. It must match the SIRS, the Structural Integrity Reserve Study. So in addition to that unit owner vote, you might need to go back to your reserve specialist or your engineer and discuss with them your plans and discuss with them what the members have authorized or will authorize and how you want to fund the budget. And if you can work with your engineer to obtain a structural integrity study that matches your goals, then you can adopt the budget which matches the study. So again, there's a 2-step process if you want to use these new funding sources. 1, a vote of the owners. 2, you must have the budget match the SIRS. And so you'll have to work with your engineer or reserve specialist to do that. Second, the statute now provides that if you're going to propose a budget with significant increases, you also have to proactively produce an alternative budget. The statute provides if the budget for this year is 115% or more of the previous year's budget, or in other words, a 15% increase, and you have to do something. The statute used to say for condominiums, if you were to produce this type of budget, the members could unilaterally petition for an alternative budget. Now, the statute says that if you're going to adopt a budget with these increases, you have to proactively produce and put to vote an alternative budget that does not have what the statute calls discretionary expenditures. And so when you produce this alternative budget, you have to have a membership meeting that occurs right as the board meeting occurs for the budget. And at that meeting, the members have an opportunity, whether they ask for it or not, to approve that alternative budget without the discretionary expenditures. The threshold for that is a majority of all units. And so if at that meeting, a majority of all units approve the lower budget without the discretionary expenditures, it goes through. If at that meeting, a majority of the unit owners do not approve that alternative budget, then the door is open for the board to walk through and adopt the budget it intended to adopt with the higher increases. Now, what does that 15% include? It includes what the statute refers to discretionary expenses, but it also excludes certain important categories. So when you're trying to figure out whether or not you have to even consider this in the first place, you exclude 3 critical items. 1, reserves. 2, non-recurring expenses. And 3, insurance premium increases. And so if you're in an environment where your insurance premium is increasing significantly, you don't count it towards the 15%. Right? Likewise, if your reserve contribution is increasing significantly for whatever reason, you don't calculate it towards the 15%. So when we back out some of these items, then you calculate the 115% and whether or not you have to propose this alternative budget in the first place. So hopefully these 2 recommendations and tidbits about condominium governance and changes concerning your budget season are helpful. If you have any questions, please contact me, Steve Adamczyk, or varnumlaw.com.